Hello, and welcome to another episode of Legion by the Numbers. I'm Joe Eames, and in this episode, we are going to be looking at the Mandalorian Super Commandos. We're going to look at just the base barebone units without a heavy. They're 75 points, maybe a little bit more when you give them some equipment. And so we're going to look at what kind of offensive output they have when they don't have a heavy. And we'll compare that to a similar number of points for something like, say, another core unit. So if you have that 75 to maybe 85 points, do you want Mandalorian Super Commandos? Do you want a heavy, another just outfitted core unit? And we'll try to answer that question as well. So let's just start off. We're going to look at the Mandalorian Super Commandos. We're going to look at their range 3 and then their range 2 and then their melee profile with just the bare bones unit. Kind of a cool unit of this release, in my opinion. These are what's cool. I'm just even that excited about the new Maul. I prefer the old Maul. I think the mechanical legs Maul is kind of, I don't know, a little silly. But I do like these Mandalorian Super Commandos. I do think that they're very cool. And their heavy options are awesome. Really excited to do the analysis on their heavy options and like their rockets and stuff. But looking at these Mandalorian Super Commandos at range 3, they've got a black and a white. They do have those nice defense dice with the surge to defend, but no surge to hit. So offensively, they don't have a lot. They've got a lot of movement and stuff, so they're really, viable offensively because they can get around and get into position, which is why I think this 1 to 3 and different 1 to 2 and actually pretty good melee is really nice on them, because with jump and a 3-point move, they are a really great unit to be moving around the battlefield and getting into position. So I really think they're outfitted pretty cool. Now, we're not going to give them a heavy weapon. Well, we will look at what if we wanted to give them just a couple of points. So maybe you have exactly 75 points or just a little bit more. What might you give them? Training-wise, I think these guys, you're mostly going to be looking at things like situational awareness to make them a little bit tougher, let them dodge crits maybe. They do have that defend 1, but I think most of the time you're not giving them an order so that they can get the aim token, which means maybe you won't prioritize situational awareness. It is only 2 points, so that might be the one. Up close and personal, I think, is really great because you get the dodge token, really makes them, or if you really want to be offensive, it's probably going to be offensive push to give you that tactical 1, or into the fray to give you the surge tokens. I kind of think into the fray is potentially the one that you want, since they don't have any native surge. I think that might be the best thing offensively, but we'll look at that. We'll look at whether or not having another surge or another aim token, what that might do to these guys. So let's give them into the fray. It's whatever it is 4 more points, so it takes them up to 79. Comms. Yeah, there's things like the emergency transponder you could give them to give them that 1 key aim, or dodge, or remove a suppression. With a 2 morale, I don't know. That one is really great. Otherwise, I don't know. But again, maybe the emergency transponder is going to be like the standard. If I've got a comm slot and I don't have anything to go in there that I want, I'm going to do that. Gear-wise, you're probably doing something like recon intel to get them all out. But their Super Commando combat shields are really great. 10 points for 2 more hit points on them. They only have 1 point each. So even though they're red and surge to block, that extra 2 hit points is actually pretty good. So I could definitely see people doing that one. But targeting scopes makes them more offensively capable because of the extra precise 1. So we'll also look at that and see if that does much. Finally, the rockets. The rockets are really nice, and we're going to look at those in another episode. So there's a good chance you'd actually give them the rockets. So you're already at 100 points just by outfitting them like this. If your points, if you're really tight on points, I could definitely see people just taking these bare bones with maybe just into the fray. So 75, 79 points right around in there. And not getting the additional shield, which just makes you tougher. Not getting the jetpack rockets. In a different episode, we'll look at the jetpack rockets and kind of see what their points value is like. But this is how we're going to outfit them. for this analysis, 79 points, and that gives them the occasional surge token. So 79 points. At range 1 to 3, they're 1 black, 1 white with just 3 units, so it's going to be 3 black, 3 white. They don't have any surge. They don't have any impact, critical, precise, no sharpshooter, so or native surge. So that's kind of their basic profile, but they're pretty much always going to have a name token. That independent aim 1, I don't think you want to give them orders a lot, but they're so versatile because if you are worried about their survivability, you can give them an order just to get them a dodge token and make them even that much tougher. Going against red, surge to block with a dodge, oh my gosh, people, your enemies or your opponent's likely to prioritize something else if that's what he has to shoot at, unless he's got a lot of things to shoot at him. So this is how we're going to go with their attack. We're going to look at shooting in red into heavy cover and see what that's like. So when we do that, looks like we're getting 0.76, but look at the chance to do no damage, 44%. So they can really do a lot, potentially. With this shooting red into heavy cover, they might be doing 2-3 points sometimes, but there's almost a 50% chance to do no damage. So on the basic unit, shooting into heavy cover with no damage, or heavy cover with a red surge, you can see the difference is really significant. Now, to kind of give us an idea of, is this even a good idea, now that we've seen what they can do, let's compare them to something that is similar points value. So what I put together is some stormtroopers with the DLT and the actual stormtrooper themselves, plus the targeting scopes. So that comes out to 76 points, a few points off from those guys, but pretty close. I think this is a good comparison. If you have roughly this number of points, should you consider taking a bare bones Mandalorian super commandos, or super commando units, or should you Mandalorian super commandos, or should you take something like a core unit that's outfitted with a heavy? So let's change our profile up here a little bit. We'll reset this. There's 76 points. Those stormtroopers, there's going to be 5 regular stormtroopers, each doing a white with surge to hit. So that's 5 white with surge to hit, but their DLT 19 is 2 red with impact 1. And impact 1, of course, we're not looking at shooting into armor. We have actually the targeting scope, so that's precise 2, because they have precise 1 natively. And then there's a really decent chance that you might be able to take an aim or something. But let's look at these. The other guys, we had an aim already, so they might move and shoot, where these guys can't move and shoot. A lot more versatile. So let's look at doing these guys with essentially the same, and inherently we're not aiming and shooting. And we wanted to do this against red into heavy cover. Let me try that again. Okay. So the stormtroopers, you can see, are doing a little bit more damage on average, 0.88 instead of 0.76, but only 38% chance, getting really close to a 1 out of 3 chance to actually do no damage against a red defense die in heavy cover. So comparison-wise, the Mandalorians, at least on the surface, are not as offensively capable as just a well-outfitted typical core unit. Now, of course, Stormtroopers Precise 2, they're pretty good unit, but the difference being, there's some pretty big differences here. The Stormtroopers have 6 hit points, where the Mandalorians are only going to have 3, but the Mandalorians are red surge to dodge. They have 3 movement, jump 2. So there's a lot of there are quite a bit of differences in just this analysis as far as mobility goes. But for just another unit on the table to do damage, the basic Mandalorian super commandos at range 3 aren't quite as capable as the Stormtroopers. Now, what they are is they are mobile, which means that they can get into range 2 a lot better. And while we're at it, let's kind of look at what the difference is. If there's much difference if we say get rid of heavy cover and go to maybe white surge to block, So here's the Mandalorian Super Commandos against that, and then let's do the Stormtroopers, no cover, white surge to block. So again, you can see the Stormtroopers are still a bit more capable and more efficient on points value. All right, so looking at that, one other thing we might consider is do the Mandalorian Super Commandos maybe have that surge token from something like Into the Fray, and how much difference that does. So we saw they were 2.1 without the surge token. With the surge token, how much does that change it? Now that's a lot different. Now it basically gets to the same points value as the Stormtroopers if you have the surge token. And I think when we outfitted them, we did outfit them with Into the Fray, which means that if an enemy unit at range 1 activates, you get a surge token. Range 1 is so small. If you're shooting at range 3, is there something within range 1 that's actually activating? Maybe not. Maybe instead of that, you outfit them with offensive push, so that instead of a surge token, they get another aim token. Is that really do? Also, another aim token is actually better than a surge token. It takes it up to 2.5 and makes them even a little bit more efficient than the Stormtroopers. Stormtroopers are 31.5. These guys are 31 points per hit. So with some other piece there over the Stormtroopers, they can get at least equal to, if not slightly better than the Stormtroopers in capability of doing damage. But as we said, they're very mobile, so getting into range 2 is a lot more possible with these guys. So we saw, let's go back to their red in heavy cover, and we're going to put them at range 2, which means instead of the black-white, it's now black-black. So we'll get rid of those 3 white and go 3 more black. And red in heavy cover, now they're doing 1.1 with only 29% chance. So actually a lot better than the Stormtroopers. The Stormtroopers, remember, were 0.9 with a 38% chance to do no damage. So they're significantly better at range 2 against red heavy cover than the Stormtroopers are. And then if we want to look at what their melee damage output would be like, well, let's go to white, search to block, no cover as well, and look at that. And that's 2.7, where the Stormtroopers were 2.4. So again, a lot better at range 2. So range 2, that's where they do shine over a core unit. And then let's look at their melee damage. So white surge to block with no, that's the same thing as if they're doing melee. 2.7 red, no surge for in melee. They're doing about 2 points. So if you get into melee with a red save unit that doesn't have dodge or something else, then you're probably going to be doing 2 points of damage with those guys. So the last thing let's look at really quick is, does it make any difference if they have, since they have that equipment slot, what if we were to give them their targeting scopes? Adds 4 more points, so it takes them up to 83. So let's take them up to 83. Well, let's start with one of our let's start with the basic attack here, which was this one. So we're going to go to 83 points, and now we're going to give them precise 1. So they were doing 0.76s against red and heavy cover. With the aim token, we gave them a little more expensive with precise. So that's what they were doing, 0.76, 103, and 44%, whereas the Stormtroopers were 0.8. And if we do that, now they go to 0.84 and a 40% chance to miss. So now they're about the same damage profile as the Stormtroopers, but you can see the efficiency is lower. 98 points per hit, where the Stormtroopers were 86 points per hit. So with the targeting scopes, one thing that they do have is that they are slightly more efficient. So the targeting scopes are, at least points-wise, more efficient. 103 points per hit without the targeting scopes, 98 points per hit with the targeting scopes. So targeting scopes are a good idea for these guys for equipment if you don't want to take the combat shields. But it still makes them less efficient than Stormtroopers at range 3. But once they get into range 2, that's when they start to shine. So really cool unit. Really like them. I like the versatility of them. Good melee, good range 2 attack, and still got a nice range 3 attack as well. So even as a bare bones unit, I kind of like it. I could imagine taking this occasionally, either for fun, because you like the Mandalorians, and you just want to take some of those, so you could swap out some heavy core units for these guys. Or if you have just exactly that many points, but you need a highly mobile unit that's also very survivable, then these are a great choice there. Hope you liked the video. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you in another video.